Today we're taking a look at the FootJoy Men's WinterSof Golf Glove, a glove that is supposed to be good for cold weather golfing. It's something I've really wanted to do more, but we had a very weird end to the fall where it just kind of stopped being even playable, rain all day, so didn't really get to use it as much as I like to, but I did take an opportunity today to play a round of golf. So I've used them a few times, but usually only like intermittently, and I always end up taking them off after I kind of warm up. But today I wanted to play a full, a full segment with them on. It says when cold weather strikes, play on while wearing FootJoy WinterSof golf gloves. Constructed from waterproof weather shield foam fleece, WinterSof golf gloves feature proven sure grip auto suede knit palms to keep a blend of protection and performance in any conditions. A weather shield knit cuff locks in warmth and blocks out cold for great comfort. Highly reflective piping adds visibility, and easy access tee holder minimizes hassle. So I like the fact that they have this on it, like the thing where you can put your tee on it. I don't really use it. I probably should, because it's a lot harder to get when you have gloves on like this. It's harder to get anything out of your pockets. When I wanted to buy the gloves, I was considering buying these too, and these are twice the price effectively. I'm not really sure what the difference is either. It says gear up for the course. Glove was built with cabretta leather and soft fleece for enhanced warmth and a better grip in colder weather. So I'd read some reviews about this glove especially. I mean, I guess this glove is a little bit more like a regular glove is the difference, and it's just got some warming elements in it because this is actually just like a real golf glove. So that's not really what I want, and especially it being $49.99, that really doesn't interest me. The main thing I wanted was something that would actually be like a full warm glove, because last season when I played later in the year, I just wore like winter gloves and it was actually fine. Like, it didn't really feel like I needed golf gloves at that point, but I do have some problems, I feel like, with my hands. It feels like the club and my hands are so inexorably connected that whenever anything kind of disrupts that, it makes the sport a lot harder for me, and it's already pretty hard. But I have this problem even, when playing video games or doing other things. Like, once my hands get cold, I kind of just feel like I don't have a good connection to the thing that they're holding, and I really wanted to not have that happen with golf, because obviously, if I don't feel comfortable holding the golf club with my hands because they're so cold or something like that, then it's just going to be impossible to enjoy. So let's take a look. I have some footage, 2 or 3 different times we played with them just intermittently, just want to show it off, and then I'm going to show you a full stretch of holes where I don't take them off, where I wear them the whole time, and then also at the end of that I will do a full kind of like a summary of all my thoughts. So if you haven't seen this video, I played in conditions that I should not have been playing in, let's put it that way. It was pouring rain, the greens were soaked, everything was absolutely soaked, but this was in September. It wasn't really that cold. I think it was probably in like the mid 60s. I think it might have even gotten into the 70s that day. The reason I did this was because I had an old glove that I was using for my right hand whenever things were cold or wet, and I actually lost it. So I figured I might as well go buy a set, and I was either going to buy rain gloves or winter gloves. And I was thinking about just buying rain gloves because that's what I was using anyway. I don't really feel like you need winter gloves. Like, it's never going to be so cold that I actually need that specifically. But since I have these issues where my hands always seem to get a little bit colder than I expect them to, I figured we might as well err on the side of caution and buy the winter gloves. And then within a week, it started pouring, and I wanted to play golf, so I figured we'd come up. So let's take a look at a few shots here, because I do think that they can be used for all weather conditions. From what I can remember, when I golfed in the rain, they actually held up pretty well. I feel like they really didn't, like the glove on the club was perfect. And I wasn't really sure about that, because obviously when you have a glove like, that's getting soaked like that, you might start to worry about how good the grip can be with the glove. Like, I would feel like my hand might actually be more tactile than certain gloves that I've used, but it held the water well, and it actually was pretty comfortable, even though they were completely soaked. I was a little concerned with them drying and maybe kind of being smelly, or they would lose some of their function, but they dried very well. Like, they were completely soaked through. It took like a day of full time to dry. You see how bad it's raining here. So everything on me is completely soaked, and the gloves are still operating perfectly. Hit that nice little draw in there. It's one of the best shots I had all day here. I didn't really have any issues with the gloves during the rain, at least at this point. But prior to this was the first time I ever had them on. Like, once you use golf shoes a few times, they kind of start to break in, and there's, some flaws start to be exposed. So I don't necessarily know if the glove would have changed at this point, like if I went and did this exact same type of round of golf after wearing them for a few months. But as a rain, not a rain glove itself, I was actually very impressed with how well it went. And then I got some opportunities to wear them when it was, a little bit chillier. But like I said, I always ended up taking them off. And there's two main reasons why I always ended up taking them off. This is going to be a bit of a sticking point for me moving forward with something like this. They're almost a little too thick. Like when you think about a golf glove or you think about anything winter related, you're thinking like, okay, it has to be thick enough to keep the heat that your hands are emitting inside the glove, right? And I do feel like I lose a good amount of feel with that. Even though I'm still able to hit good shots and, it's a lot better than just wearing a regular winter glove, it does feel a bit like I am not having a good hand to club interaction. I didn't really feel like they were slipping or anything like that, but it's especially with the putter here, as you see, it's just not the most. It just doesn't really feel the same. And I'm a very big feel player. I feel like, any small change in my hands or my anything about the swing is going to really impact me, especially with the mental game. It was never something that I felt like I was comfortable wearing for very long, and they're kind of just on, and I would always think like, man, if I can just get my hands to be warm enough to take them off, then I would have gotten what I wanted out of them. And the other big issue is one of the things that might actually be the best feature of them, they're almost too warm. And I don't know exactly if you talk to like the company or something, like what would they say you're supposed to have these on for? Because like I'm playing in like, low 50s, maybe high 40s, like this footage here. This day it was actually quite nice out, but when I got here it was pretty cold. So it felt like the right thing to have all this stuff on, but I'm actually, it's just become so warm that I just can't keep them on. And that is something that you're going to see today's footage. I mean, I try, I force myself to wear them the whole time, but after like 4 or 5 holes of playing, my hands actually are sweating inside the glove. So if you want your hands to be very warm, then you have picked the right pair of gloves. But this almost feels like there's like some diminishing returns there because I don't really know how to solve that problem. Now, I have hands that almost always sweat when I have a golf glove on, especially in the summer. If I don't take the golf glove off the second I hit the shot, it's going to get soaked with sweat. Like when I buy a new golf glove, and you can always see when it's happening because there's like a thing around the hand, like the where the leather meets like the part that's supposed to interface with the club. It starts getting soaked and you could see kind of the sweat ring around the edge there. And as soon as I see that, I'm like, I quick get that off. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to get soaked through with sweat. But I could see myself having issues with this type of glove because it's going to happen. And it was in the it was just like high 40s today, I would say. For most of the time I played, I only got to walk 9. But with walking especially, it was even easier to warm up. So I don't really know what conditions I would have to play in that they would actually help, but it's probably a really good thing. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like today. You can have a look at the footage, and then I'll do a summary of my final closing thoughts on all this. hit the hole. That's what we're looking for. Very nice, little low runner. Not the distance we wanted. That might be the one. A little bit left. Way too much as well. Huh, wow. The third one wasn't as long as I thought. These ones, I don't know where they hit. Tough distance. So again, that was the first time I had really played consecutive holes in conditions that were definitely feeling wintry, but it just wasn't really, it wasn't even really that cold. And like I said, after probably like 4 or 5 holes, my hands were starting to sweat. But that's a good thing because it really, my hands were very warm. And as soon as I took them off at the end of the round, it was like, oh my God, my hands are it's so much colder. They were so insulated that it's like actually shocking. You're like, oh my God, the difference in temperature is alarming. It's a good and bad thing for me because I don't know if I could actually wear them for like a full 18 hole round. And again, I just don't really know, what do they mean by winter? Like, are they expecting you to use these in like 20-degree temperature? Like, I don't know. Can you even golf in those? I really don't know. All I really wanted was something to keep my hands warm. And for that, I think they were worth it. But whether or not I can use them for every shot, I would say putting, I should always take them off. It's just, putting is such a feel thing for me recently, especially. And it's just having the gloves on when you're putting, it just doesn't feel right. But I will say that, like, the actual grip portion of the glove, like it says here, WinterSof gloves feature proven sure grip auto suede knit palms. That actually, to me, I was like, man, what is that going to be like? And it's excellent. It really, like, I feel like it's actually better than your standard golf glove in terms of gripping the club. And like I said, even that time when it was pouring and they were soaked, like completely soaked through, it was still very, very good. It didn't feel like the club was slipping at all. That's another nice thing about it is I have a lot of pressure points build up on my right hand. So having the second pair of gloves on is actually a little bit more comfortable too. But I think the main thing to take away here is this part here. The Winter Shield knit cuff locks in warmth and blocks out cold for greater comfort. So this is probably the ultimate factor in these gloves right here, this kind of thing. Now I've seen, regular winter gloves that I wear for like, regular like snow removal or something like that, but other golf gloves too. And they don't have this. And this is very tight around the wrist. You could feel it. Let's put it that way. It's also nice because if I'm wearing long sleeves, a lot of times like it's a little bit longer than you want it to be and it'll go over the grip. Maybe you have to keep pulling them up, so it's kind of annoying. But with these gloves on, that can't happen because it's underneath the wrist like this and it can't, nothing can go up over that. So it's actually, I think that is the main reason why they're so warm. So I wonder almost if that didn't exist, would I have a completely different opinion on them? But yeah, so should you buy them? I think, it depends why you're buying them. And I also should say that they fit true to size. I bought the same, I think I buy medium for regular gloves, medium for these. It was perfect, same. FootJoy is very consistent with that, I'd imagine. So that's really good. So, $22.95 for two gloves that you effectively should keep forever. Like, I mean, I don't really know. This is the other question I have. Will they ever be worn out? And like when you buy a regular golf glove, especially a FootJoy glove, you get so many uses out of it. And then eventually it's just worn out. It looks like, it looks bad. It starts to get brown or, darker, blackish or something like that just from using it and getting dirt around it and stuff like that. But these gloves seem like these can be used forever. Like, I don't know why they would ever not be able to be used. And I've gotten them very dirty. Another issue I thought I might have with these gloves is that I often, when I place the ball down on the ground, or even just to tee the ball up, my hands kind of touch the ground, right? And so then they get wet. If the ground's wet, the glove gets wet. Now, in terms of their water resistance, even in that footage that you'll see, it didn't do very well. It didn't really do very well at all. And once the gloves get wet, you can feel it. Like, they get soaked pretty quickly, but again, it didn't really slow down the heat retention at all. In my experience, it was still very warm. But obviously, a big part of staying warm in the winter is not being wet as well. So I don't really know what it would be like if it was very cold out. But in the, the temperatures I've played, even though the glove does get soaked through pretty quick, it dries pretty quick too, but it still stays very warm. So, but I'm just not really sure how these would ever wear out. And it's to the point where it makes me wonder why they don't make more gloves like this that aren't winter gloves, because it seems like extremely durable. Like, I've used this quite a lot now, and there's no visual difference to them at all. And like I said, with the regular glove, I could easily that 5 or 6 rounds, same type of use, and you would already see visual differences. Whether or not it's affecting the glove's value, I don't think so. But you immediately start seeing, especially those white gloves, you immediately start seeing a difference there. But these gloves are almost like, yeah, it feels like they're weatherproof and they're also damage proof. So I think it's a great purchase. $22, $23 or whatever. Very interesting. I would like to try out the $50 ones. Maybe I will take a look at them next year and do another review. If anybody is watching this and they own them, or you have any other recommendations for golf gloves, let me know. Let me know what the most valuable thing in a winter glove is for you, or why do you buy a winter glove in the first place? Because I just really don't want my hands to get cold at all. Even if it's like low 60s or high 50s, once my hands start getting cold, it really changes the sport, but also my enjoyment of the sport. So that was why I purchased them. And I would say that even though I have a few faults with them, it was really a solid purchase. $22. It's not the cheapest thing, but I think it was pretty solid. So I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we are going to do one more video this year, and it is going to be me basically reviewing every single round I did. I have a spreadsheet with every single scorecard and a bunch of notes on that. We're going to look back at every round. I've learned a lot this year, and I'm very interested in taking this learning to next year and not going backwards like I did at the start of this year. So hope to see you there. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We will see you in the next one.